So this video is meant to help you with the lesson Survival of the Narfs. In this lesson, you're going to be generating a creature called a Narf, and then I will be telling you a story about these Narfs. Based off of the traits of the Narf, you may survive or you may die off. If you die off, you'll have to create a new Narf that has the traits of those that would have survived. As a class, when we did this activity, we used traits of the surviving Narfs. But if you're doing this on your own from home, you'll just have to look over and determine what traits would have remained if there were more people participating that would have survived. To start off, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the Narfs. As I do so, you will want to follow along on the slides and determine what traits you want your Narf to have. You'll have the traits you'll have to pick from are height, fur color, claws, teeth, and fur thickness. Let's get started. You are all a member of a species known as Narfus cilius, commonly known as the Narfs. Narfs are very intelligent creatures with many traits. They're usually about 3 feet tall, but some are known to be as tall as 5 feet. They come in a variety of colors, but the two most common varieties are blue and green. They live in rainforest environments. Narfs are typically gentle creatures, but are sometimes fierce when challenged by a predator. The short Narfs are slow creatures because they are generally chubbier. But the tall Narfs are faster because they tend to be slimmer. They do not migrate unless forced out by unforeseen circumstances. They typically stay in lower branches of trees unless they are tall enough to reach the higher branches. Narfs are omnivorous and will eat nearly anything. They have teeth very similar to human teeth. They prefer fruits from the trees, but can also eat small animals. Small animals are sometimes difficult for them to eat if their teeth are not extremely sharp, but wide, dull teeth also allow them to eat nuts. So, you need to go through and pick. Will your Narf be tall or short, green or blue, short and strong claws, or long and slender claws? Will their teeth be long and sharp, or wide and dull? And is their fur very thick or thin? Now remember, if you want to go for a tall Narf, it said the majority of them are short. And so what I'll want you to do is to find a die, and roll that die. You can also look them up online. You can find some auto-generated die, and you'll roll, and if you get a 1 or a 6, then you can be tall. But if you get any of the other numbers, 2, 3, 4, or 5, then you're gonna be short. If you wanna be short, then just be short, that's fine. So let's start the story. All is well in the lush green rainforest. All Narfs are enjoying a nice climate and abundant food sources. All of a sudden, disaster strikes. A giant nerf-eating monster attacks. The monster is scientifically known as Chilus narfus, and commonly known as the sharp tooth. The sharp tooth is far superior to other animals physically. It is extremely fast and very strong. It can jump high enough to reach the lower branches of trees in a single leap, and he knows how to climb. The sharp tooth, as its name suggests, has very large, sharp teeth for its carnivorous eating habits. The teeth look similar to that of a lion. The sharp tooth does, however, have poor eyesight. It has an average sense of smell, but impeccable hearing. It can see most differences in color, but cannot make out shapes very well. If you cannot blend in with the trees, you died. Here's where I want you to look over your Narf. I want you to determine what traits does this situation select against, which traits are selected for, and which traits are neither beneficial or harmful. Pause this video and consider those questions, then play the video again. So we can see in here that the trait selected against is Narfs with the color blue as their fur because they don't blend in with the trees. And the sharp tooth is able to see the difference in colors. You can't see a difference in shapes. So if they're the same color, they blend in. So what trait is selected for? That would be green fur, as well as being tall and fast. Okay? Which traits were neither beneficial nor harmful? Well, that would be the remaining traits. Okay? They were not affected in this. If you survived long enough to produce offspring, you are now one of those offspring. Because offspring are much like their parents, you choose the same traits as you did in the beginning. They do not need to roll, you don't need to roll again for height. If you were tall before, you'll be tall again. If you were short before, you'll be short again. If you died, you must come back as offspring of those who survived. In other words, you'll have to look at the traits and create a Narf that fits the traits of someone who would have survived. Now, over time, a mutation begins to pop up in the Narf population. This mutation is for thick skin, which can sometimes itch, so much so that the Narfs with this mutation have to take more baths to soften their skin. I'm going to let you choose whether your new Narf, the new offspring that you just have become, will have this mutation or not. After you've made your choices and filled out your traits, continue this video. Okay, situation 2. So this is the second generation. Unfortunately, things are not going well for the entire Narf species. Human poachers have been killing Narfs for their incredibly soft fur. Many people enjoy Narf fur coats, even Narf skin rugs. If the Narf has thin fur, however, it's left alone. The poachers typically hunt with a bow and arrow because guns draw attention to their illegal poaching practices. Some Narfs have extremely thick skin, which is difficult to penetrate with an arrow. Now, I want you to answer and consider these questions. Which traits were selected against? Which traits were selected for? Which traits were neither beneficial or harmful? Pause the video, consider those questions, and then continue the video. We can see that the trait selected against was thick fur. The trait that was selected for was thin fur or thick skin, because the thick skin stopped the arrows. All other traits were neither beneficial nor harmful. If you had thick fur, you died, unless you also had thick skin. You will come back as an offspring of those who survived. Choose thin fur unless you already had thick skin. Then you can choose either trait. Another mutation has popped up in the population. This mutation is for webbed feet and hands. So you'll want to consider if your new Narf will have this mutation. Fill out your traits and then continue to situation 3. Situation 3. Deforestation practices have been destroying the trees where Narfs live and the fruits they commonly eat. Some Narfs are able to change food sources, but some Narfs are not fast enough to catch live animals, nor do they have sharp enough teeth. Consider these questions. Which traits were selected against? Which traits were selected for? Did the mutation affect the population or the survival of individuals? Which traits were neither beneficial nor harmful? Pause the video, answer these questions, then start the video again. The trait that was selected against was the short, chubby, and slow Narfs, as well as the dull teeth. Which traits were selected for? Sharp teeth and tall, slender, and quick Narfs. Did the mutation affect the population's survival? No, it did not. Which traits were neither beneficial or harmful? All other traits and the mutation. If you were short, chubby, and slow, or have dull teeth, you have died. You become an offspring of those who survived. If you were fast and have sharp teeth, you survived. The new mutation that popped up is to glow in the dark. You need to determine if your Narf will have this mutation. Situation 4. Many trees in the area where the Narfs live have been destroyed. This has caused heavy flooding due to high levels of rainfall. Before the rainfall would have been regulated by the dense trees and vegetation. This has caused pools of water to form in the area where the Narfs live. Some of these pools can be quite deep, 10 feet or more. The only food source available is at the bottom of these pools, so Narvs that have webbed feet and hands can swim well enough to get this food. Also, because there are very few trees left, it is harder for the Narfs to hide from predators. Most have to search for food at night when their predators can't see them well. Those that glow in the dark get eaten anyway because their predators can see them in the dark. Consider these questions. Which trait was selected against? Which trait was selected for? Did the mutation affect the population? Which trait was neither beneficial nor harmful? Pause the video, then start it again when you're ready to proceed. We found that the trait glowing in the dark was selected against because these Narfs were seen by their predators. The trait of having webbed feet and hands was selected for because these Narfs were better able to get their food. The mutation did affect the population in a negative way. All other traits are considered neither beneficial nor harmful. As you continue and finish up this assignment, you will draw your final Narf, what it looks like, and compare it to your beginning Narf. Then you will answer the questions on slides 10 and 11.